This is R2D Tech, and we're going to be talking about Samsung's upcoming event, the release of the S10, and the possible release of the Galaxy Flex. So stay tuned. The specs on the S10 and S10 Plus. So they will be getting Qualcomm's new chipset, the Snapdragon 855, and that's pretty impressive in itself, considering that these are some of the first phones that will be getting that chipset. So for RAM, you're going to get between 8 and 12 gigs of RAM, and that is really impressive because OnePlus set the bar last year at 10 gigabytes, so Samsung are taking it a step further. In terms of storage, you're getting between 128 and 1 terabyte of storage, which is really massive, and no other company is offering that right now. For screen sizes, you get a 6.1 inch screen on the S10 and a 6.4 inch screen on the S10 Plus. Now, Samsung makes some of the best screens on the market, so you're going to get a really good screen on these phones. You could say that they were out of this world.
In terms of camera setup, the S10 and S10 Plus both have a triple camera setup on the back. This allows you to have a wide-angle lens, a telephoto lens, and a standard camera lens. We've seen this sort of setup on the Huawei Mate 20 Pro as well this year, and it allows you to take much wider photos if you want to, so you can capture more in a scene, but also you can zoom in without losing quality by 2 times, which is a really useful feature to have. Now, unfortunately, only the S10 Plus has the feature I'm about to talk about, which is a dual camera setup on the front. It has a wide-angle lens and a standard lens as well, which allows you to take wide group selfies like on some of the Pixel devices this year. I find this really useful, but unfortunately on the S10, the smaller model, you only have one lens and it's not a wide angle, so you can only take standard photos. But with the Samsung software, One UI, you'll also be able to take portrait photos with that single lens this year.
Last year was the year of the notch. Now, this year I think it's going to be the year of the hole punch notch. But hopefully by the end of the year, we will see more phones that would have gotten rid of the notch completely. But this year, the S10 and S10 Plus will have hole punch notches. The S10 having one lens and the S10 Plus having 2 lenses. So the hole punch notch, it doesn't really add any more functionality that the regular notch didn't, but it does obstruct the screen less when watching media and YouTube and stuff like that. But it also just looks a lot nicer, and in my opinion, it's going to be the defining factor of which phones people are going to buy this year. Samsung are selling these screens to other manufacturers, so we will see a lot more hole punch notches on other phones as well.
Now I'm going to talk about One UI, which is Samsung's new software. I've used this on the Galaxy S9, and we know that it's going to ship on the S10 and S10 Plus. The idea was to make the software slightly more like stock Android, which you get on the Pixel, and slightly cleaner. Because we all know that Samsung's TouchWiz software has never really been that popular. Now, using it on the S9, things like the notification panel look exactly like stock Android now, but the problem is that there's still some TouchWiz features, like app drawers and things, which make it look a bit less premium and a bit annoying to use. And to be honest, maybe because it was a beta, but it didn't seem that smooth. Definitely not as smooth as a device like the OnePlus 6. And I really think Samsung still need to improve this if they're going to be the best-selling smartphone this year.
So now we're going to talk about Samsung's foldable phone, the Galaxy Flex. So we got our first look at the phone a few months ago at Samsung's developer conference, but hopefully we're going to get more information at Samsung's upcoming event. Now, foldable phones are a relatively new concept. We got our first look at a foldable phone from a company called FlexPi. They released the FlexPi Royale, which we saw at CES, but it definitely wasn't a polished phone. Now, hopefully Samsung's phone will be a lot more polished than that. We know that Google are working with Samsung to develop a proper software for foldable phones. And so we don't know what the finished product is going to be like yet, but hopefully it's going to be a lot more polished than the FlexPi Royale.
In conclusion, what we really look forward to in the S10 and S10 Plus, for me in particular, is the headphone jack. Now, basically every other company, even OnePlus now, have gotten rid of it, but there are very strong rumours to suggest that the S10 and S10 Plus are going to keep this, which really excites me. But also these phones are a step forward in terms of going closer and closer to a fully bezel-less display, which is what all the companies are aiming for. And I think it's a good step that Samsung have taken to try and get closer to this. We know that they're working on technology currently to put the camera under the display, which will make this dream possible in the future. But for now, at least they're doing something while other companies are following them. And we're going to see many other phones this year copying this trend, because Samsung are actually selling these displays to any company that wants them, probably Apple. So that's all we've got to say for the S10 and S10 Plus, and hopefully, cross fingers, we'll see the Galaxy Flex in Samsung's event on February the 24th. That's it from us at R2D This year is going to be a very mysterious year in terms of tech, and we're going to be covering everything. So please like
and subscribe.